Okay, children. So the last class, what was there? We started with advanced tries in O-level, and we have seen that the governor of this Oxford prison, okay, he made a very unusual request that there is a prisoner, and the name of the prisoner was Evans, okay, and he wants to appear for the German O-level paper, okay, fine. So the secretary of the examination board also agreed with it, fine, because he was the only fellow and he was very eager to get some academic qualification. Fine, but there was a worry for the secretary. What was that? He wants to know that as he is a prisoner, so just he wants to know that he is not a violent sort of a fellow. The governor told him or informed him that he was not a violent sort of a fellow, but while he was in prison due to the habit of kleptomania. Okay, children. Now we have seen that they had made all the precautions. They are taking all the precautions to so that this Vance, okay, he does not run away from the jail prison this time. Okay, he was known as Vance the Prey. Why he was known as Vance the Prey? The reason is because he has thrice escaped from the jail. So that's why he was known as Evans the Prey. But this time, the governor himself is taking each and every precaution so that this person, this Evans, okay, will not able to escape from that jail. Okay. Now, page number 74. At 8:45 the same morning, at 8:45 the same morning, Redmond Scott McCleary lifted his bachelor flat in Broad Street and stepped out briskly towards Garfield. Now, what happened the same morning on the morning of that paper, on which the paper was there? Okay, this McCleary was a what? He was a person from the church. Okay, so he just come out from his bachelor's flat, means he was a single person, and he started moving towards the Carfax. Okay, the weatherman reported temperatures considerably below the normal for early June, and a long black overcoat and a shallow crown clerical hat provided welcome protection from a steady drizzle that which had set in half an hour earlier, which now spreaded the thick lenses on his spectacles. Now, what is this? This McCleary, he was wearing a black overcoat and a hat. Why? Because there was already the weathermen, they have declared that it is going to be a little cold today. Okay, then the normal days of June, and there can be a drizzle. So that's why he was wearing a black overcoat, a long overcoat, and a hat to protect himself. Okay. In his right hand, he was carrying a brown suitcase which contained all that he would need for his morning duty, including a sealed question paper, envelope, a yellow invigilation form, a special authentication card from the examination board, a paper knife, a Bible. He was to speak on the women read that afternoon on the Book of Ruth, and a current copy of the church. What is he having? He's having he had a suitcase in his hand, and what is there in that suitcase? All those things which he needed for the examination. Okay, so what he had a sealed question paper, then he had a yellow invigilation form, then he had a authentication and ID card for Evans, and then he had a paper knife to open that sealed question paper. In spite of all these things, he had a Bible. Okay, that chapter, Book of Ruth, he had to read for the Women GUILD's Association. Okay, he had to, after the finishing this exam, he had to go there to that place, and there he had to read that chapter. So that's why that Bible is also there with him, and the current copy of the Church Time. Church Time is the newspaper. Okay, so the Church Time, today's copy of this newspaper was also with him. Okay, the 2-hour examination was scheduled to start at 9:50. Now, at what time the exam is going to start? The exam is going to start at 9:50. Evans was lettering his face briskly when Stephen brought in 2 small square tables and set them opposite each other in the narrow space between the bunk on the one side and on the other a distempered stone wall. Next, Stephen brought in 2 hard chairs and slightly less feathered, on which he placed in front of the table, which stood near the cell door. Now, what is there? This Evans was just shaving. Okay, at that time, what did Stephen do? First of all, he brought two tables and he fixed the table just with a wall. Okay, with a distempered wall. And then he brought two chairs. That chairs were a little worn out, and he brought them and he placed the chairs also. Why two chairs? Because one is for the Evans and one is for Maclean. Okay, Jackson put in a brief appearance, brief final appearance. Behave yourself. Jackson just look at the cells one more. Lock up and which the Evans was, and he told me what Evans to behave himself. Okay, Evans turned and nodded. And these, Jackson pointed to the pins are off. Now what is there? Just Jackson, okay, he ordered to remove the posters. These posters are being placed by Evans. Okay, Evans had placed these posters on the walls with the help of a pen. Okay, so what he said, he just told to remove these posters also. Fine, because with a small pin also, he can harm himself or Maclean. So he told to remove the pins, to remove that posters and the pins. Evans turned and nodded again. I was going to take them away down. What did Evans said? He just turned to Jackson and he told, I was just about to tell you to remove all these things. A minister, isn't it? A chap coming in to sit in, I mean, minister here means the invigilator. Okay, so he said that I think somebody is coming, sitting here with me when I'm giving an exam, and invigilator is being here, right? And how did you know that? Asked Jackson White. How did you know that somebody is coming here? Okay, well, I had to sign some forms, didn't I? And I couldn't help you. What he said, that of course before starting the paper, I have to sign some forms. Okay, and in that you also cannot help and I also. So obviously somebody is going to come for that. Okay, Evans drew the razor carefully down his left cheek and left a neat spread in the white head. Can I ask you something, Mr. Jackson? Why did you have to bug me in this cell? Now what bug means children a small microphone. Bug means a small microphone. Okay, so Evans was just placed his razor from his place, and then he asked Jackson, you just tell me why you have placed these microphones in my cells. Okay, he nodded his head vaguely to point above the door. He just pointed towards the door where these microphones are being placed. Okay, the microphones where they have been placed. He just pointed towards there and he said that why you have placed these microphones over here in my cell. Okay, not a very neat job, commented Jackson. They are not, they don't honestly think I'm going to. What the Jackson said, that I know. Okay, why he said there is not a very neat job. Why? Because they try to hide those microphones from Evans, but he was able to see that. That's why they were saying that it is not a neat job. We are not able to hide that thing from Evans. Now what did Evans said? They are not, they don't honestly think I'm going to. He said that what you all are thinking, that this time I'm going to try to run. No, I'm not. Okay, they are not taking no chance, Evans. Nobody in his senses will take a chance with you. What did Jackson say? That okay, fine, you are saying you are not going to escape this time. But we are not going to take any chance. Okay, and the person who is in his senses will not take a chance with you. Okay, who is going to listen? Now, what he was saying, that who is going to listen to? Okay, by this microphones, to these microphones, who is going to listen? I will tell you who is going to listen, and Larry, it's the governor himself. Said that I am going to tell you who is going to listen to what you are saying. It is through these microphones, the governor is going to listen to you. Okay, he don't trust you a bloody beans, nor do I. I will be watching you like a hawk. Evans, to keep your nose clean clear, walk towards you. Said that the governor, he don't trust you, and even I don't trust you. Just behave yourself. Keep your nose clean clear means to behave yourself. Okay, and he said that I'm going to watch you very carefully. So don't try to escape. Okay. Evans nodded. He had already thought of that, and number 2 handkerchief was lying ready on the bunk, a neatly folded square of white linen. Now, what is there? They have placed a new handkerchief also for Evans. Okay, they don't want to take anything like this. They don't want to keep anything which can be used by Evans. So they have cleared each and everything from his room. After shaving, they have placed a new handkerchief so that he can wash his face. He can just pat his face and then they can remove that also. Just one more thing, Einstein. Yeah, what? Good luck, old son. What did Jackson said? That one more thing. Good luck, old son. In the little lodge just inside the prison main gate, the Rapid McCleary signed his name neatly in the visitor's room. And then he walked side by side with the silent prison officer across the exercise yard of Deeping. Here he was greeted by Jackson. Now what is there? This McCleary, this invigilator, he had just arrived there at the prison gate. He signed his name very carefully at the prison gate. Okay, and then what? A prisoner officer, and there was a prisoner officer, he just took him to the G-wing. Okay, where he was greeted by Jackson, when he met Jackson. The wing heavy out door was unlocked and locked behind them. The heavy inner door the same. McCleary was handed into what happened when he entered the D-wing. There was a long metallic door in D-wing also. Okay, so after meeting Jackson introduced him to Stephen. Get the razor, Mama Jackson. Now Jackson, he started inquiring to Stephen. He asked him that had you taken the razor from his cell? Stephen nodded. Well, keep your eyes skinned. Keep your eyes skinned means to be alert. Keep your eyes skinned means to be alert. So he said that be alert. Okay, while you're giving you duty over there, be alert. Just keep a strict eye on Evans. Stephen nodded again, and McCleary hit his feet climbing up the iron stairs, followed his new guide, and finally stood before a cell door. There Stephen opened the peephole and looked through, and what happened? The Stephen, he just took this McCleary to the lockup, to the prison, where this Evans was, and what he did, he just opened that peephole. What is a peephole, children? On the door, on that iron doors, they used to put a small window, a small peephole, okay, through which they can peep inside that what the prisoner is doing. So he just opened the peephole. That's him, sir. What did Stephen told McCleary that is the person, sir. Okay. Evans facing the door said quietly at the further of the two tables. All attention retrieved to the textbooks of elementary grammar. Stephen took a key from its ring, and the cell lock sprang with a thundered metallic twang. What is there? Evans was just sitting just a little far from the two tables, and he had his whole attention in that grammar, in the German grammar book. Okay, very attentively, with a very concentration, he was reading that book. Okay, and what did Stephen do? He just opened the gate, and the gate opened with a noise, with a large noise. It was 9:10 when the governor switched on the receiver. Now the governor switched on the receivers of the microphones. The microphones which are placed in the room of that, in the cell of that Evans. He had instructed Jackson to tell Evans of his temporary little precaution. That was only fair, as if Evans wouldn't spot it. But wasn't it all better theoretical? Now what is there? Jackson already, this governor already told Jackson to inform Evans that he should not try anything this time. Okay, now he was what they were thinking, that this Evans was not able to find out that microphones. Okay, but Evans was very smart. He even looked at that microphones also. Okay, but governor had told him that if he find out that microphones, just told him that it is just a temporary precaution. Okay, temporary little precautions we are taking. After this exam, we are going to remove that from his cell. Okay, but wasn't it a bit theoretical? Schoolish boy almost. Now, what is the governor thinking? He's thinking that this is very theoretical. Okay, this is like a drama we are doing. We are now behaving like a schoolboy. Okay, if how on the earth was Evans going to try anything on today? He was so anxious to make another break. Why in the heaven name hadn't he tried it from the recreational block? Much easier, but he hadn't. And there he is now, sitting in a locked cell, all the prison officers on alert, 2 more locked doors between his cell and the yard, and a yard that was with a wall as high as a haystack. Yes, Evans was safe as houses. Now, what is there? He was just thinking, all these things are the governor is thinking. He was saying that today Evans cannot try anything. Okay, and if he want to escape this time, he had been tried from the recreational block. When we have put him in the recreational block, that time he had tried all these things. Okay, and what he said that time that recreational block was a little at a less height, so he can jump that wall and go. And now where he is, where the prison, where the lockup is there, in which he was right now, what was there? That wall of that lockup, the wall of that block, B block, what is there? It is as high as a haystack. Okay, so he cannot climb that wall and he cannot try to run away from there. Anyway, it would be any trouble at all to have a receiver turned on for the next couple of hours or so. It wasn't as if there was going to be anything to listen to. What did the governor felt? He felt that, of course, it has not been a trouble. When the exam was going, everything will be what? If they obviously they are giving very quietly, they both are sitting. So he decided to put on the receiver for a few hours. He also knows that this receiver, from this receiver, is not able to hear anything because it was an exam. And during the exam, there was complete silence. So he said that he decided to put on the receiver just for a precaution base. Okay. Amongst other things, the invigilator duty was to ensure the strictest silence was observed. But still that nagging doubt. Might Evans try to take advantage of McLean? Let him smuggle in a chalice or two for a rope or a little. Now he had a doubt. This governor had a doubt. He was thinking that might this Evans he just tried to smuggle McLean. Then what? Okay. The governor sat up sharply. It was all well getting rid of any potential weapon that Evans could have used, but what about McLean? Now what is next? There's an alarming sound in governor's mind. He thought that we have taken everything which Evans can use as a weapon from his cell. But what about McLean? Okay, he thought that what if quite unwittingly the innocent McLean had brought in something himself. He said that this McLean is innocent. Might be he had brought something and that Evans can use as a weapon. Then okay. And what if Evans he held hostage with such a weapon, a jackknife perhaps? He said that there might be a jackknife, a paper knife, just to open that sealed question paper, and Evans can take the advantage of it, okay, of that, and he can use that jackknife also as a weapon. So he said that then we have to check what now. The governor was thinking this that now we have to check this McLean also. So what he did, the governor reached for the phone. It was 9:12. The examinee and the invigilator had already been introduced by Stephen when Jackson came back and shouted to McLeary through the cell door, "Can you come outside a minute, sir? You too, Stephen." Now what is there? It was 11:12 now. So he just ringed up to the governor, ringed up to this Jackson, and he told him to check McLeary also. So what did this McLeary do? This examinee means Evans and invigilator means McLeary. Stephen has introduced both of them. Suddenly this Jackson came from behind and he shouted from the door. And he told this McLeary to come out and also told Stephen to come along with him. Jackson quietly explained the governor's worries and McLeary patiently held out his arms at the shoulder lever, which is Jackson lightly prickles his throat. Something hard will listen. What is there? Now Jackson told what the governor was thinking, and he told McLeary that I want to search you. So McLeary also cooperated with Jackson, and he just put his hands like this, and he was ready that if you want to search me, you can. So what did he do when he was just checking his clothes? He found something hard thing in his pocket. My reading glasses, replied McLeary, looking down at the spectacle. What did the McLeary say? He said, "This is my reading glasses." Okay, Jackson quietly reassured him and bending down on the landing arm, freckled the edges of a suitcase. Now, when Jackson was checking him, he just saw the suitcase in McLeary's hand. Okay, he picked up each envelope in turn, carefully passed his thumbs along their surface, and seemed satisfied. What he did, he took out each envelope. He just put the plants like this, checks because they are sealed. So he just do like this. Now he was satisfied that there is no weapon inside it. He referred curiously through the few pages of Holy Writ and weekly shoots in church times. What he did, he took that Bible and he just did like this, okay, just to see that there is nothing in it. Then he just shoot the newspaper also. that if something is not hidden into it. Okay, here if then all right so far, but one of the objects in McClary's suitcase was puzzling him. So up till now everything is okay, but there is something in McClary's suitcase. Okay, and Jackson was a little confused that why this thing is here. Okay, do you mind telling me why you have brought this, sir? He held a smallish, semi-inflated rubber ring, such as a young child with a waist of about 12 inches might have struggled into. You're thinking of going for a swim, sir? Now, what was that object? That was a rubber ring, a tube. Okay, during the swimming, the small children used to wear a tube down their waist. So, this McClary had a half-filled tube. Okay, half-filled tube in his suitcase. So Jackson told him that, sir, why you have brought this? Are you planning to go for a swim? McClary hitherto amiable temnor. Hitherto means until now, amiable means friendly, and temnor means behavior. Okay, was slightly ruffled by his tasteless little pleasantry. Now, what is there up till here? This McClary is cooperating with Jackson. He was very friendly with Jackson. But when Jackson asked about that rubber tube, okay, he became a little upset, okay, because he was not happy with this joke. And he answered Jackson somehow, what sorry. If you must know, I suffer from hemorrhoids, and when I'm sitting down for any length of time, said that I'm suffering from piles. So I cannot sit on a hard thing for a long time. That's why I brought this. Okay, very sorry, sir. I didn't mean to. The embarrassment was still reddening Jackson's cheek when he found the paper knife at the bottom of the case. Now, what is this? After listening that McClary is having a problem of piles, and that's why he has brought that little rubber tube. Okay, this Jackson is what? He become a little embarrassed. Okay, and while searching, found a paper knife now. Yeah, I think it's better I would keep it though. If you don't mind, sir, that's it. What he said, sir. So I just want to keep this paper knife if you don't mind. Okay. It was 9:18 a.m. before Governor heard their voices, and it was clear that the examination was going to be more than a little late in getting underway. Now, what is there? It was 9:18. Okay, the examination was to start at 9:50. So obviously, the governor heard their voices at 9:18. The examination was going to be late. McClary, you have got a watch. Advance. Yes, sir. I will tell you when you start and again when 5 minutes left. All right. So he inquired that as McClary, this Advance got a watch. He said yes. And then McClary informed that I will tell you when to start. And when 5 minutes left for the paper to get over, then also I am going to inform you. Silence. There is plenty more of this writing paper. Should you read it? Now he asked that these answer sheets are enough or you need more. Okay. Now write down the name of the paper. 0 to 1-1 in the top left hand corner. Now we started giving the instructions. Okay. He said that write the name of the paper 0 to 1-1. Children, kindly underline this. Name of the paper 0 to 1-1 in the top left hand corner. Then he said, in the top right hand corner, write the index number, underline this also, index number 313. And in the box just below that, write the center number 271, underline the center number also. Okay, alright. So he has given every instruction to each and every instruction to Evans. Silence, it's 9:20. I am going to. Now, what did he say? That now I am going to tell you to start the paper. Evans. Is he not going to stay here? Is he? What he said in a little high voice that is this fellow is going to stay here. Now about whom this Evans is talking, he is talking about Jackson. Okay, McClary, I don't know about it. He said that I don't know if he is going to stay here or not. Stephen, Mr. Jackson gave me instructions to, what did Stephen say? That Mr. Jackson gave me instructions, okay, to stand here. Evans, how I am supposed to concentrate on my exam and someone breathing down my neck? Now what he said, I cannot concentrate on my exam and he's standing and watching me like a hawk. Okay, I cannot concentrate, I cannot write. So I don't want him to stay here. Right, sorry sir, I didn't mean it. Earlier he shouted and then he lowered his voice and he said, sir, I didn't mean it. But if he is standing like this and he's watching, he's looking at me like this continuously, I cannot concentrate on my exam and I'm not able to give the paper. So just tell him to go out. The governor reached for the phone. Jackson, get Stephen out of the cell, will you? I think we have perhaps overlooked. Now, what is there? Governor is listening to everything to that microphone. So he just ordered Jackson to hold that Stephen to come out of the cell. He said that we are just overdoing the things now. Okay, as you wish. Okay, as the governor heard the exchanges in the cell, heard the door clanged once more. And here McCleary announced that the examination had begun at last. What is that? The governor here that the door opened, Stephen moved out of the cell, and then the door closed. And then last and final, governor heard the voice of McCleary. And what did McCleary announce? He announced that the paper had begun. Okay, children.